So this is my basic research interests. I do primarily rural development work, similar to Nodi, but my focus is more kind of on the economic development and in terms of kind of the infrastructure approach. Rural health, things like rural hospitals, telecommunications technology, broadband, internet access, that kind of stuff. I see a couple familiar faces around the room. Some of this we've talked about in my class, and I'll talk a little bit more about later on. My degree is from Virginia Tech, and just a couple of my recent publications. So this one looks at, we actually have a school in Tulsa focused on providing rural physicians to the state. So we actually evaluated one of their programs that are promoting rural locations for their graduates. I also looked at if higher broadband access means lower tax collections in some rural areas, because you guys all know if you buy things online, you're actually not paying tax on it. So even though you're supposed to pay tax, Shading would probably be upset with me for saying that, but you're supposed to pay a use tax on that. It doesn't always happen, so we kind of did some evaluation on that. Most of my appointment is in extension as well, so I have a 62% extension appointment. And again, most of it deals with rural infrastructure. So we go out and document the economic impact of rural hospitals, rural physicians. I do a lot of work with e-commerce and broadband for small businesses, workshops for some mom and pop organizations, setting up websites, that kind of stuff. And then we have a solid waste program as well, dealing with recycling in rural areas. So if you guys are interested, if you're from a small town in Oklahoma or somewhere across the country, we do quite a bit of work with rural development, developing rural areas in terms of small businesses, but also communities and health, etc. So most of my research is kind of a tie to that. So some of the things I've done, impact of telemedicine. There's some really cool stories out there about physicians in rural areas interacting with people in urban areas to get health links between the two. And again, I mentioned this broadband use versus sales tax collection. We also have looked at some USDA rural development grants and loans. They provide infrastructure loans for things like water and sewer. Which one of those programs has had the biggest impact on economic growth for small towns, that kind of stuff. I do teach I've been teaching this rural development course, and I know a couple of you guys have taken it. It is available for graduate credit if you want to do that. So be aware of that. And teaching one credit on spatial econometrics, which is going to be a PhD level course. So again, here's my teaching appointment. This is what we do in the 4723 class. We talk about the history of rural development policy in the U.S. We do some growth models. We actually have some hands-on applications. We go in the computer lab and do some things, pull a lot of data, internet searches, that kind of stuff. I have people that actually do economic development as a profession come in and talk to the class. And then here's the spatial econometrics, which again is just really 1/3 of a course. You guys are probably going to hear from, you will hear from Dr. Scheidler and Dr. Lusk, who will be teaching other sections of that. And this is where we're going to actually do hands-on stuff with our view, GIS stuff. Geoda is another way you can basically do some geographical modeling, spatial statistics, regressions, that kind of fun stuff. And things I'm interested in: policy evaluations, do specific programs like the water infrastructure program, like the EMR adoption. Are they causing economic growth? Again, broadband and entrepreneurship, that kind of stuff. Anything dealing with rural development, economic impacts of health reform, and then rural labor, migration, community, workforce, that kind of